Hi there. These short vignettes are going to deal with the most frequently asked questions that pertain to real estate. Now, that will apply to industrial properties, investment properties, and most importantly, to people's homes. And we hope this is going to be of interest and insightful to anyone that bothers to have watch these videos. And we'll start. You have some questions for me, I believe.
I do. We have a few questions, pertinent questions that pertain to residential real estate. And I'll just start with the first question, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
What would you think, in your opinion, what adds the most value per capita to a person's home?
Well, I firmly believe that it's the simplest of things that, having a clean home and a freshly painted home adds the most value per dollar. I believe that Ludwig Mies, the famous architect that built many of the high-rises in Chicago back in the early 1960s, his motto was less is more. And I think that really applies to people's homes, because if you declutter a home, you thin out, remove shoes and coats and stuff from the front foyer, try and make your home look as expansive as possible, and present the home in the best light possible, having clean windows, clean counters, rearranging the furniture so that people can walk around at ease when they're viewing your home. These are all things that are very important, but the most important thing from a dollar standpoint in terms of money invested, nothing gives you a greater return than having your house freshly painted.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that if I were to not go to the extra mile perhaps of remodeling my home where there would be kitchens and bathrooms involved, which I know you're going to probably allude to the fact that they would add more value ultimately, and if I really didn't want to spend a lot of money, but I really wanted to find the easiest, best solution, those would be your two suggestions. Cleanliness, number one, and painting the house from top to bottom.
Absolutely.
Perfect. That sounds great. Well, that's good advice, I think, for homeowners out there, and something that won't cost them a lot of money.
No.
I have another question for you. What are the 3 frequently cited misconceptions about adding value relative to their cost to someone's home?
Well, that's a multi-tiered question. One of the things that I know that's a big rage just now, and it's a lovely amenity, but it really doesn't add a lot of value, is something like hot tubs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Well, it's for personal use, and it's one of those things that it may help sway someone, but it's not something that people are going to pay you a whole lot of money for if they find it on the deck or outside the master bedroom or whatever. In-ground pools sort of fall into the same category as well. Sometimes they can be perceived as being a negative, especially if it's a young family that's looking to move in to your home.
Sure.
And it's all relative to the scale of the pool being in the backyard. Does it take up all the yard? Is it a portion of the yard? And so on and so on. But pools are rather expensive to put in, and they generally don't generate a great return in terms of getting your a return on your money relative to the cost of putting it in. Now, on a hot summer's day, there's no argument. It might be one of those amenities that helps tweak it for somebody, but I don't think that you see that translate into.
What about finished basements?
Finished basements is another good point. It's something that it adds to the living space in a home, and it is a case that people get years of use out of it, and it's definitely a bonus. But in terms of the cost and the return, it's really something that might only give you a 25 to maybe a 40% return, depending on the styling of the basement.
Wow, that's interesting.
And so it will help you sell your home probably sooner than one of your neighbors who doesn't have a finished basement, but will it translate to you actually getting $1 on the dollar back? I would hesitate to say that would be the case. As I said,
so if I understood you correctly, what you're saying is that personal enjoyment would be foremost reason that someone should be putting in a hot tub, an in-ground pool, or a finished basement, because I've got years of enjoyment on it, but they probably will not get back the dollars that they originally spent on those items in full.
Right, now, and again, in that order too, is it's a case that hot tubs probably the least return, pools second, and then of course basements do give you a return in a higher, probably marginally higher selling price, but not significantly so.
Thank you, that's great. That's great information. Traditionally, where would one expect then, out of all of that, the greatest percentage of return, would you say in a new home versus a resale? What would you think?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's something that's been debated for years. But I think the facts speak for themselves. It's a case that statistically is that new homes, particularly in the first 5 to 10 years, generally give a better return if all locational factors remain equal versus, say, a resale home.
Why is that?
Well, many things. You're getting everything new. You have the new type of floor plans. You're getting the 9-foot ceilings. You're getting, hardwood floors, new ceramics, new bathrooms. The word new is a big selling feature to people. I mean, the rage these days is to get granite or quartz countertops. That's what a lot of the builders are offering. Whereas with a resale home, very often it's a Formica countertop, or maybe it's a Corian. It doesn't have in the new built-in appliances. It has 8-foot ceilings and so on and so on. So traditionally, if locational factors are relatively equal, a new home will give you a greater return than a resale.
And I guess apart from that, because sometimes you'll find resales which have renovated their whole home and whatever have you, but in a new home, the short-lived items such as furnaces and roofs and windows, you don't have to worry about that for a few years, providing that the quality is good. So that's another issue, I guess, that would be
right,
very,
because
very
it's
helpful.
always a concern with the resale is, do I have enough insulation in the attic? Okay, what is it? How was the basement put together? There's, and as you said, furnaces and windows and things like that. They're always items of concern.
And all buyers are prudent and would like to spend as little as possible, particularly after they've purchased a home, as you mentioned. And, they want to sort of do it up front, and that would help in their
right, and it mitigates probably the cash outlay that would be required with a resale home. Although new homes come with their own expenses too, like new fences, new landscaping, and one thing and another. But to answer overall, and I think statistically it speaks for itself, is that new homes in the first 5 years will generally appreciate more than a resale home that's comparable and in the same location or similar location.
I can't thank you enough for your insight today, and I think that it'll be great for viewers to see these points, because I think they'll be very helpful to anyone who is thinking of purchasing a home or has a home, wants to refinance, wants to sell their home. I think these are great points today.
Well,
Thank you for your time, Tom. It's been a great pleasure.
Kip, as always. And it's a case we will have a couple more vignettes to follow up with further questions. And please don't hesitate to contact us at Heritage Caledon at 905-838-2490. Thank you very much.
And don't forget your website, www.heritagecaledon.ca. See you there.